Hey everybody, Enigma here, coming at you with a video. Hope you're doing well this weekend. Today's Enigma stuff is going to be something really cool, something I really like. But we have to lay the groundwork as to why it's important and all that good stuff. I'll say, so, okay, so we had two things happen back in the 80s and the 90s that are going to play into this. First of all, we had the rise of advanced Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing games, which I know a lot of people that I know are really into it. Sadly, I never really was able to get into it because I moved around 11 times before I graduated high school, so I had no friends to play with. Plus, I'm not really a big fan of math. But anyway, besides all that, in the 80s, there was a group of people in Japan that had put together a tabletop role playing game story so good, and the world building was so good, and the characters so good, that they could farm it out and make money off of it, right? They created something really big, and in Japan, it was a huge deal. There were books and animes and stuff like that, and I'm talking, of course, about Record of Lodoss War. Now, this is a contemporary game. This is not what I'm here to show you, but this is a contemporary game that came out here a couple years ago called Wonder Labyrinth, Record of Lodoss War. There's D-Lit on the cover there. That's D-Lit, and then there's Pyrotess up there at the top. Always been a big Pyrotess fan myself. But to be honest with you, this is a Metroidvania game. It's a lot of fun. I'm not here to show this to you, but this is a really good game if you've not tried it. If you like Metroidvanias, it's really fun. If you like Record of Lodoss War, it's really cool as well. Then in the 90s, we had this kind of anime boom in the 90s, thanks in part to the popularity of like Neon Genesis Evangelion and things like that. But a lot of older animes then also started to catch on. People wanted to go back and get some of these, and Record of Lodoss War was one of those. They actually had an OVA anime in the 80s, and then in the 90s they had a television show. With one of the TV show had one of the best opening theme songs. Just absolutely love it. But anyway, these things were starting to catch on, and in Japan, as most of y'all know, a bunch of the games that were being released in Japan were based off of Japanese animes and books and things like that. And Record of Lodoss War was no different. There are games back on far before what this game I'm about to show you. But a lot of anime stuff that would come over here, because anime wasn't as big as it is now, or was before the big boom. They would end up changing a lot of things into it. I think the most famous version of changing a game is Dragon Spirit on the NES, which was actually a Dragon Ball game. If you look at the main character, it's like that looks exactly like Goku, and because it was supposed to be Goku. But that being said, throughout the 90s, there was always, Dragon Ball Z is bigger. It was bigger than anything, still is. So there was those games coming out. You'd still see some of the fledgling animes, getting releases over here as far as games and stuff go. But the one that really caught my attention was in the early 2000s, and that's Record of Lodoss War on the Sega Dreamcast. This hit me a little differently because, first of all, Sega Dreamcast we knew was on its way out. We knew the second that Sony showed off the PlayStation 2, you could hear the entire board of Sega of Japan going, because they knew they were about to just get rolled. So Sega was smart and got out while it was getting, this thing was getting good. This, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, probably did the exact opposite of what usually happens with games coming from Japan. Usually, a game comes from Japan, it hits North America, then it goes to Europe, usually, and then Australia and all that good stuff. I think this did the exact opposite. Pretty sure this came out in Europe first, and then they just took the localization that the Europeans did for it and brought it out here on in America. And I tell you why I believe that's true is because the voice acting in this game is all British. You can tell when you listen to them all that they're all Brits, and if you watch the anime, they don't have accents, not usually. So in fact, Deedlit, the elf right there, and this elf right here, she was voiced by Lisa Ortiz in the original animes, and who's also Lena Inverse. I know, that's why I know, I've met her. Very sweet lady. That's not who voices Deedlit in this game. So when the first I heard, I was like, So this is a isometric game. I apologize, I misspoke. Like Diablo, it's a lot like Diablo, and you see it's got that third down thing where you're dungeon crawling and all that. You make your own character. There's a lot in this game that takes place that goes alongside the Lodoss lore. So a lot of the characters that you'll meet in the game. You'll probably recognize from the animes and things like that. Also, it's a very difficult game. It's not a simple game to do. It's not really a bit beyond the realm of speculation for you to walk into a dungeon and just lay waste to everything in that dungeon, and then you go one door down and open under another door, another dungeon, and here come these huge ass ogres that just completely stomp a mud hole in you. So it's crazy. This is one of the more rare games. It did come out here in North America towards the end of the Dreamcast life cycle. If you want to see the disc, of course, I can get that out for you. This is a CD, not a DVD. This is one of the reasons that Sega knew they were in a lot of trouble, basically, is because they went CD based and Sony went DVD based. So this game's worth about 130, 140 bucks here in the States. I don't know how rare the European version is. I'm sure the Japanese version is probably fairly common because that's where it came from. But I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan of Record of Lodoss War. So when I saw this, I had to get it. And it's fun. It's a fun game. It's one of those games that actually gives you control of the character in your Diablo uh, thing. Like, cause now it's all that way, where you have complete control of your character. But with the way Diablo was it was point and click. You know, you'd point where your character needed to go or the enemy you wanted to attack, and it would do that in real time. This is one of the first ones I remember getting full control of your character throughout a Diablo kind of thing. Like if you hit the button, you swung your sword, you know, that kind of thing. Uh, I wouldn't say this is a like life-changing kind of game. I'm not saying it's the kind of game that you would play and go, "Oh my God," you know. This is it's difficult. It's made really for Lotus fans, but it's not bad though. It's a fun game, so you could actually get some enjoyment out of it. Like I said, though, it's actually pretty expensive. So if you find it for anything less than 3 digits and it's full box of instructions and all that, you might want to pick it up if you still have your Dreamcast and give it a go. So that's going to do it for Enigma stuff this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. On here on Twitter, here on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, comment, like, share my stuff, I'd really appreciate that. You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter as well at Evil Enigma. I'm on all those places. I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube by the end of the year. I think I'm at 241 YouTube subs right now, and I need to get to 500. So whatever you guys can do to help me with that, I greatly appreciate that, okay? So I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you then.